Hey guys, thanks for tuning in for another Football Scout 365 piece of content. Please like and subscribe the video. Please, it's helping so much. It's honestly, you guys are amazing. The interaction on the comments has been amazing. So many of you guys are awesome and have great viewpoints. I've learned a couple things from you guys in the comments, and it's awesome just building this community that we have here at Football Scout 365 and breaking down these players that we're going to watch for years and years to come. This is one of my favorite things. I've wanted to do this my whole life. Brandon has too, and it's awesome that you guys have just been here to watch. Please like and subscribe the video. With that being said, without further ado, this is After Further Review. Good morning, good evening, good night, folks. This is your Football Scout 365 podcast host, Woody Massey, and I'm here with Coach Brandon Lundberg.
What up?
What up? Today we are going to be discussing Sam Howell. Today, because we don't want no scrubs.
Oh, nice.
we don't want no scrubs. A little TLC for Sam Howell, because I'm on the fence. So Brandon, you're going to send me one way or the other, but I got some things to say. This is probably the most film I've watched of any of the quarterbacks. The last 2 days I've been watching a lot of Sam Howell, and I've seen a lot of things I like. I've seen a lot of things I'm like, I don't know if that's going to go in the NFL.
Yeah.
So that's going to be something to dive into.
Yeah, I mean, prior to the start of the 2021 college football season, I had him as the top quarterback prospect coming in, even ahead of Spencer Rattler. And then obviously you see what happened with Spencer Rattler, and Sam Howell obviously has kind of dropped a little bit. I think, he's done a really good job though. Especially recently here in Senior Bowl practices. The big thing for him and what we're really going to be looking at is, what is the drop in his numbers? You were talking about it before we started the show. His numbers had dropped.
It's not looking good. But you also pointed out the level of talent at the skill position that he had each year says a lot. And that's why we could be seeing this drop, which, I mean, it's not an excuse for him, but it is something to look at. His freshman year, amazing freshman year. Now I understand the hype on him. He had 3,600 yards passing, 38 passing touchdowns as a freshman. That's
so
exciting stuff. But then it went down a little bit, 3,500 yards to 30 touchdowns. And then you come to his senior season where it's 3,000 yards, just barely, 24 touchdowns, and 2 more interceptions than he's ever thrown. So which Sam Howell is the Howell that we see?
I want to point out, though, I mean, he adapted really well to losing the talent that was around him. His inconsistencies, like you just said, it's combination. It's not all on him. You lost Javonte Williams, you lost Michael Carter, you lost De'Ami Brown, Daz Newsome, your 2 best receivers. You got to look at that. He adapted well. The addition of the zone read game in the offense, him actually keeping the ball and running more, him identifying man coverage and running against man coverage and things of that nature. Those are very important things that people need to look at. He had over 800 yards rushing, to add to his passing production this past season. So you have to consider those things as well. Again, when we're looking at him from an NFL draft perspective, this is a former 4-star recruit. He's 6'1", 220 pounds. So he's got, good prototypical size. He's not super tall.
He's not 6'1".
I know he doesn't look 6'1".
He's not 6'1". I'm sorry.
But I think that we're thinking too Baker Mayfield-y on this guy. I know he might look like Baker Mayfield, but he's not necessarily. He's a better athlete than Baker.
He's got a better deep ball than Baker Mayfield. 100%.
I feel like he's got and we talked about this too. His competitive nature, it's up there in that regard as well. I mean, the guy wants to win. He's competitive, but again, he's not perfect in what player truly is. Now, as we always talk about,
he had a matchup against Kenny Pickett this year, where they went head to head, and he did pretty good in the game. He had 296 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. But Kenny Pickett, who better prospect, Heisman candidate, 25, 43, 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. So Kenny Pickett did get the better of him in the one head-to-head matchup.
Yeah, So again, we look at all the numbers that he has put up. He's got 37 total games under his belt, so he's got a lot of experience. He is North Carolina's all-time leading passer, yards and touchdowns. He's got more than 10,000 passing yards. He's got 92 touchdown passes. So some of those things may not matter. At the end of the day, it comes down to his ability can his game translate to the NFL level? And I think when we're looking at the majority of these prospects in this year's class, again, it comes down to what the scheme fit is going to be for that player. Giving these guys a college-friendly type of offense for the most part, again, comes into play in terms of play style and scheme fit. So
we've talked about his stats. We've talked about his traits, who he is on the field. One thing we'll talk about his rushing a little bit, but where is Sam Howell landing for you on the prospect board? I mean, he's definitely, I'd say he's the fourth, right?
I've had these guys kind of neck and neck, but for the most part, Ritter, Howell, Willis, they have second round grades to me. Kenny Pickett is the only one that I have with a first round grade. Malik Willis, he's trending towards the first round.
Yeah. 75. What are those stats that you pulled yesterday from the Senior Bowl? So Brandon has access to Senior Bowl like statistics and stuff that they're taking during practices right now with media credentials, and he pulled some very interesting Malik Willis stats.
Yeah. So the ball coming out of his hand at 75 miles per hour, and looked back in time, and I couldn't believe it because I thought no way anybody's better than Josh Allen. 75 miles per hour, Josh Allen must be somewhere above
like 80,
that, right? Yeah, he's got to be throwing an 80-mile-an-hour fastball coming out of his hand, and sure enough, his was 66 miles per hour. Sam Howell actually threw at 69 miles per hour, which is still better than guess who? Josh Allen. So again, take it with a grain of salt.
If I'm taking a risk on a quarterback, I'm taking Sam Howell over Matt Corral just on the deep ball alone. He has just a higher ceiling. Like definitely could be a lower floor than Corral. Corral has a much better like build, and it looks consistency on a play-to-play basis. Played against better talent in college for sure. He's played in bigger games, I'd imagine. Yeah. But man, that deep ball, like that deep ball, it's not perfect, but it's way better than Corral's deep ball. That's for sure.
Sam Howell definitely checked the athleticism box for sure this past season, and he proved that he's really more than just
really compact when running. I was very surprised. I don't think his speed will match in the NFL like Corral. I don't think he'll be able to make that corner like you see him do. But the one thing that does help him, though, the difference from Corral, he did a lot of runs up the middle, which is doable in the NFL. If you have a good offensive line, they create the pocket, they get the defensive ends on the outside, you are able to scramble up the middle. And he's one thing that I saw when he runs that was elite rather than his speed, not elite. He's just not an amazing runner when you look at the film. And it looks like he'll get rocked if he runs straight up in the NFL, honestly, because he runs straight up, doesn't bend. But one elite trait he did have, and I think it's a lost art, he follows his blockers very well.
Yeah.
He lets the blockers get in front of him.
Patient.
But he takes the perfect angles off of guys. Like he'll slow down to let a guy get in position in front of him, and then whatever he waits to see which way the blocker blocks the guy and takes the right angle. So he's a patient, smart runner, which I think we've seen that in the NFL. Guys like Aaron Rodgers especially. Aaron Rodgers is great at following his blockers when he takes off. And I think that's a similar type of scrambling situation we could see. And with the deep ball, if we were talking about a homeless Aaron Rodgers, like maybe Sam Howell. But definitely his scrambling. I see a similarity there, being able to follow the blockers.
Yeah, and the one thing I don't want him to rely on too much is his running ability at the NFL level. I want him to keep plays alive, keep his eyes down the field, and make throws.
That was also a concern because you saw a lot. I watched every single run and pass of the Notre Dame game because I was like, all right, that's the best defense he faced.
That's a good opponent, yeah.
As soon as the pocket collapses, he's taking off. Yeah. He doesn't wait. He doesn't hold in the pocket, and you're not going to be able to do that in the NFL and stay healthy.
And I think some of that is coaching as much as it is, sometimes a coach will tell you, if you see a lane, take it and get the yards. If there's nothing there within the first, 2 seconds of that snap and you're feeling the pressure, just take off if you see a lane and get the grass.
He ran more like a fullback in college out of the backfield than a running back, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He took on a lot of contact.
He carried guys too, which when I see that, I'm like, that's not going to translate to the NFL. You ain't carrying nobody. No, man.
He even admitted as much during Senior Bowl interviews a couple of days ago. He said, he understands that his running style is not going to hold up at the NFL level. So
that's good that he's aware of that. That actually is that says something, because some guys are like, oh, I can do it again. No, the fact that he's actually aware of that it's good. Before we get to everyone's favorite part, we dim the lights and you teach me about football. Let's talk about comparisons. So Sam Howell, I like to pull from this was the hardest guy so far, because he looks like Baker Mayfield on the field, body wise, attitude, just that competitiveness. He's got the fire, the Baker fire, and he looks like him in real life. Like, you look at his actual picture and you're like, oh wow, okay, yeah, this is Baker Mayfield doppelganger.
Yeah.
But one guy I did, shout out to the Quarterback Club. I watched his breakdowns of Sam Howell and his footwork. He oftentimes had really good footwork when he throws out to the sideline from the pocket. And I see a Gardner Minshew way, and he stands like just with his footwork, the way he angles his body when he throws the ball. And I liked that a lot. That was nice. And then with his passes, though, he puts a lot of air on his passes. Like when he throws his deep ball, I see the way, like how Lamar Jackson is kind of growing with his deep ball. He puts a lot of air underneath the ball. And Daniel Jones, definitely, I see a Daniel Jones type deep ball. It's not the strongest arm, but he's able to drop it in over the defenders in a gap. Like a perfect example, in the Notre Dame game, he dropped it in between 3 defenders to his wide receiver on the sideline, and it was just a teardrop just over everybody.
We've got a nice. He does have good touch, short, intermediate touch, and the accuracy is there. So that's a good call out. We're actually going to exhibit one of those plays during the film review when we get to that portion as well. That kind of shows that. But you're spot on. Those are very good comparisons. I know pre-show that, we debated the potential for a Russell Wilson comparison, but we're not going to go there because that's the ceiling is not there.
Yeah.
I don't feel his ceiling is there. It could be.
Style of game fits Russell Wilson's profile, but he's not on Russell Wilson's level athletically.
Right. So we try to be careful, because I tried to say Matt Corral is like Drew Brees last week, and not like Drew Brees.
Just the release. It was just
some of the quick release stuff, and it's hard to translate that, and people understand. They just hear Drew Brees, and you're talking about Matt Corral. No way. They hear Russell Wilson. You're talking about Sam Howell.
The only thing I see with Russell Wilson, and this is the same with even Dak Prescott, the way he throws deep balls, there's a great art, because some quarterbacks they launch it straight. But there's some quarterbacks that are just so good with the Dirk Nowitzki. Dirk Nowitzki had the perfect arc on his shot. The perfect arc on his shot. So anytime I see a perfect arc, I always just picture Dirk just arcing it perfectly. And
it's like you can't guard a guy like that at all.
You can't, because if you can drop it over the defender, there's no way to defend that. Yep. There's no man who can jump 10 feet in the air and get above. And
guess who the best quarterback in this arguably the best quarterback in this class is Malik Willis at putting the ball in the right spot on deep throws.
That's true.
So
I think if you have a team that you can get away with running, play action, and one thing I'd like to ask you, how is Sam Howell under center? Because I didn't see him under center.
You don't really see these guys under center.
Not much at all. But how would he be under? We've seen Baker Mayfield specifically, shorter quarterbacks specifically, really struggle under center.
I wouldn't be overly concerned about that. I know the NFL has changed a lot. Guys who are comfortable under center, they go under center more often than not. Guys who are uncomfortable, they're not under center that often. It's not as important as it used to be, right? I mean, schematically, NFL offenses are converting more to spread style offenses that incorporate, the air raid and the read option concepts and things of that nature. So I wouldn't be overly concerned about that. Honestly, the one call out that I definitely do have, and I think this is very important, and this kind of dives into the numbers, and we were talking about some other numbers before, and I did a little research on this, pulled some information from Pro Football Focus and Sports Info Solutions, but looking at throws under 2.5 seconds, right? So how fast a quarterback is getting the football out.
Which really separates elite quarterbacks in the NFL. Guys that can pick up quick yardage very fast, a quick release, quick 5-6 yards. That is the modern NFL. And they, who was it? I think I was talking to you about this. Wade Phillips, there's a clip of him talking about what separated Tom Brady from the great quarterbacks, which shout out to the GOAT retiring. But separated Tom Brady from other quarterbacks was other quarterbacks could take shots downfield and hurt you. Brady threw 50 pass attempts, and 35 of them were for 5 yards or less. 35 of his completions were for 5 yards or less. He was the only quarterback that could dink and dunk you down the field without making a mistake.
Take what you can get. But anyway, to get back to that, throws under 2.5 seconds. Kenny Pickett is the best of the group among these quarterbacks. He was 6th nationally in college football a year ago, had an 85% adjusted completion rate, only took 2 sacks, which you're getting the ball out quick. You shouldn't be taking a lot of sacks. Had a 16-2 touchdown to interception ratio. So anytime he's getting the ball out, there's no real pressure on him. He's doing a phenomenal job. And then
that prevents injury as well. So that's
right.
Something to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. But Sam Howell in the same category, 20th in college football, 82% adjusted completion rate, took only 3 sacks. It's a show that, he can be decisive. When something's there, take it. Don't wait for something to develop, especially if the coverage is backing off and you got an open guy underneath. Take the open guy underneath.
Got to be decisive in the NFL. Got to be decisive.
Just be quick, and it's about the pre-snap reads and recognizing that. And then if we go to the other side of the coin here, throws of 2.5 seconds or more, Carson Strong is the best of the group. He was 8th nationally, 75% adjusted completion rate, took 37 sacks though. His touchdown to interception ratio of 12-5. Kenny Pickett would be the next guy up with a 74% adjusted completion rate. He took 24 sacks, but then we get down to the bottom there of the graphic, and it's Sam Howell, who had a 59% adjusted completion rate. So as the clock continues to tick, his accuracy goes down, and he took 46 sacks on plays that lasted 2.5 seconds or longer. So that is a very key number. Getting the ball out quick, being more decisive, I think that's going to be important for him or any player as they enter the NFL.
But what we kind of gave Malik Willis a pass on that because of lost talent from the year before and trying to make the super play. Yeah. And I think with what we saw with Sam Howell last year, he rushed for more than he had ever had, and he definitely ran more last year than he ever had. And I think it's the same thing. He lost the talent, and he's just trying to get a big play. And you see that happen. He held on the ball a little bit too long, and I don't think it's the most concerning stat, honestly, especially for a guy that stayed in school, lost his best targets.
I do want to tell you this. Okay. Malik Willis and Desmond Ridder both ranked ahead of Sam Howell in that regard as well. So, just so you know.
Interesting. All right, well, I think we've talked about it enough, man. I think it's about that time we dim down the lights and shout out our Irene. We're going to break down some Sam Howell tape. She's been asking for it in the comments, and here you go. Without further ado, this is After Further Review.
What you're going to see here is you're going to see Sam Howell. He's going to be in the shotgun. He's got a back offset to the right. They are in 11 personnel. And you're going to see this weak safety right here who's covering the flat, which is going to give Sam Howell man-to-man coverage here on the outside. So there's no over-the-top help on the outside. And the most important factor I want you to pay attention to is what Sam Howell does here, because he is working the deep field safety down the middle of the field here. He's using his eyes to manipulate that safety here. So
I noticed that he does that a lot on his deep balls.
Yeah, and he's looking the safety off here. which is something that you want to see. And this is important at the NFL level. And by doing this, the safety's not really focused on that. The safety's actually going to take this guy right here who was coming out of the slot. He's going to be looking at him down the seam because that's where Howe is looking. In this play, UNC is in a spread. They're in a 2-by-2 formation. Howe is in the gun. He's got a back offset to his right. UNC is in an 11 personnel. They've got a tight end in the slot on this play. The defense is showing a 4-2-5 look. They have one high safety, and he's cheating to the field side up here. Post snap, what you're going to see is you're going to see a one high look with man coverage basically across the board. The Tar Heels, they're going to run a zone read. They're going to be attacking the edge rusher to the boundary here, to the short side of the field on this particular play. And you can see right here, Sam Howell's eyes are on the edge, and this edge is already, he's crashing downhill. And the main point of emphasis on this play is this is what they call a pin and pull. And what you're going to see is you're going to see the tackle and the center who are pulling. And what this does is this influences the second level defender. So their eyes are on the running back, and they're also being influenced by the pullers here. So they're attacking that way. And instantly, number two here is reading the same thing. He's seen that tackle pull. He's thinking immediately, this is a give. This is an excellent play design, by the way, which parts the Red Sea, so to speak, here. And guess what? Sam Howell's going to have a lead blocker, which is going to be his tight end out here in space. And as Woody had already alluded to, the patience as a runner and the vision, it's all exhibited here. And then he shows some power at the end, running through a tackle. So boom, you see that? Yeah, number two is crashing down. Mm-hmm. He thinks it's a handoff. And then here it is. You can see the edge rusher.
Oh yeah, he's already committed right there.
Yeah, and you can see these guys are being influenced here by the pullers. And this guy's kind of frozen because he's still waiting. Is he giving or is he keeping, right? And boom.
He drifted a little too far in. Yeah.
Play number 3, as we already said, tight window. This is, going to exhibit his deep accuracy and his touch. UNC again, they're in a 2-by-2 formation here. Howe is in the gun. The right slot receiver is going to go into a pre-snap motion. Howe is going to fake the give to the slot receiver here when he comes across, which is going to influence the eyes of both the linebackers and the safety. So again, the goal here is eye candy. Again, there's the motion man, number 11 here. Howe's going to fake that give. Just watch how this kind of sets up. Now, this running back's going on a wheel route. So you've got the eye candy. You're looking at 11. You got the running back going on a wheel here. You've got this slot receiver off that fake going out here is going to kind of swing out here or flare out here to the outside. So this guy is in maximum conflict because his job, his responsibility is the flat area, right? And you're committed to this running back. When this guy is coming in motion following number 11, he's late to the party. So this guy's all kinds of confused, right? So I think that's number 3 up here at the top of the screen. And the wheel route, and Hal's just going to lay it in there. And there is, I believe this is him right here, number 3, who was looking at the flat, watching the motion man, and was just kind of stuck outside there. And I believe there is a replay on this one. You'll see the motion. You'll see the safety.
I don't think we'd ever see an NFL safety out of place like that, though.
Yeah. All right. So you're going to see here, they got 3-by-1 set here. It's a tight bunch here at the bottom of the formation.
Another formation we're seeing more and more of in the NFL.
Check and then go into his route. So he's going to let these guys kind of break into their routes, and then he's going to break outside here on a little short, kind of like an out route right here. And then Hal's going to drop back, and the pressure's going to get to him. And he's still looking downfield. He's not really coming back this way. And this guy's going to be open. Now, it's a small window. Think about the NFL. The amount of time that you have, the amount of space that you have, and the amount of time that you have to make a split-second decision. You'll see right here. There isn't really pressure at this point in time yet, right? But they're
not even looking at the short route yet.
They're bringing the delayed blitz here, but here he is underneath. Now you've got a small window. He's worried about hitting something downfield to get to the sticks or beyond, right? This guy right here is eyeing this guy right here. So the key, get the ball out now. Like, get it out quick,
So,
because if you're already
you got to give your receiver time to turn around and make a move on that guy.
Right. Boom. That delayed blitz gets home.
Yeah, the ball, especially, you got to be aware down there near the goal line.
So this play is another RPO. You're going to see the left guard. He's going to pull to influence the linebackers. And the defense, honestly, they buy what is being sold initially, which is another, this is another really good play call, by the way, and it's just a bad throw. The receiver runs the right route. Sam Howell's not going to throw it to the right spot, and the play is actually going to get intercepted. But Howell is basically reading the one-on-one matchup on the RPO on this play, and that's going to be at the bottom of the screen. The goal is to hold the one deep safety and make the throw outside of the numbers on the fly route. And the receiver, again, he's going to do a good job getting to the outside on this play. The linebackers are influenced, but you don't really have, to be honest with you here on this particular play, look at this.
Yeah.
This guy is actually open right here.
Yeah, that would have been the smart play.
Yeah.
He's too worried about the ref.
And guess what? That's what the RPO action in the pulling guard was set up to influence, was to get those linebackers out of the way. And he got him out of the way, and this guy's open down here. Instead, Sam Howell's going to take this deep shot down.
And that's the problem with guys like Howell. Like, the guys, chicks dig the long ball, dude. As they say, like, they want to dial it up. All right, pencil, papers down. Test is over. It's time to turn in, get our report cards. So how does Sam Howell compare, before we do the report cards, the critical factors that you put in a good prospect that we've talked about over and over again on these last few quarterback videos? How does Sam Howell match up with the critical factors compared to the other guys, Corral, Pickett, and Willis?
Arm talent wise, 7. Decision making, he's a 6. He definitely needs to improve there. So a 6 is above average good. And his clutch playability, he can make plays in key moments. He can pick up first downs in key third down situations. Would like to see him finish games a little bit better, but sometimes the defense is a little bit of an issue for him in that regard. But he is
especially in that Notre Dame game, he showed urgency. Like, at the end of the game, they were down 10, and he was still leading them right down the field. The game actually ended on a big chunk play that he got, but the guy got pushed out at like the 3-yard line outside the end zone. So that game could have been a 3-point game rather than a 10-point game.
He's a gamer. Like, he wants to be out. He wants to win, and that's huge. That's competitive nature.
Baker Mayfield.
Yeah, again, a more talented version of, it's like, I heard somebody say the other day, Baker Mayfield 2.0. He's slightly more athletic and stronger arm. And
I wonder if he's as good of a dancer.
I have no idea, to be honest with you. Is Baker a good dancer or something? Like, is this?
Oh, you never seen Baker dance? Oh, dude, no, go Google it. He gets the little.
It's good. One of them deals.
Yeah.
Oh, it's good. Is it good?
No, he's actually good.
Oh, okay. I thought you were making fun of him. I'm like,
he hasn't danced since he started doing the insurance commercials.
That's whatever.
Like, that was in the contract. You got to stop dancing.
I thought that he was like, his best dance was against the police, right? He was like running from them. And
actually, he didn't have very good moves there.
In terms of Sam Howell's final grade overall, I've got him listed. His floor, backup level. His ceiling would be just a shade outside of instant impact player. I believe his athleticism really helped him in that regard. And he's a guy who, again, like I said at the beginning, he's a guy that I had at the top of my draft board, arguably the number 1 quarterback prior to the 2021 season. I really felt good about him, but we'll see how things go during the combine process. But his overall grade, he's a developmental prospect with starter level traits. So improvement in the key areas like we discussed. He improves in those areas at the NFL level, the decisiveness, the decision-making, those areas especially, then I feel like he could be a really solid NFL starter.
Well, let's talk about it. Where could we see him having success? If Washington doesn't go quarterback early and they decide to take like a lineman or something like that, I could see them going for Sam Howell in the second round. Just, he fits what they're doing right now with Taylor Heinicke to a T. He's definitely a better version, I'd say.
Yeah. Honestly, like I said, he's got a second round grade right now. I could see teams reaching.
I mean, I'm a Giants fan, man. You don't have to explain that to me, because when they drafted Daniel Jones, I nearly threw my freaking TV across the room.
You're like, why did you do that?
Yeah. 6 overall for a
He's coming highly recommended. He was coming highly recommended, though.
Yeah,
so it was David Cutcliffe. David Cutcliffe, I believe he was both Manning's coaches, by the way. He was Peyton's coach at Tennessee, and he was the head coach at Duke for Daniel Jones, and I believe he was at Ole Miss with Eli. So, some of the comparisons in his play style when he was coming out compared to like an Eli Manning as well. I mean, it's like you're drafting the same guy that you wanted to get rid of ultimately. So again, Daniel Jones, not completely terrible. If you can get Sam Howell to that level with the right coach, you can win with that. Is that going to get you into the playoffs, winning playoff games? And
Carolina?
Right. Why not? Keep him in
the right wide
in-house. I mean,
Robbie Anderson's speed with that arm.
Yeah.
Real deal.
Carolina needs a quarterback. Denver needs a quarterback, and assuming they don't get one in free agency.
Denver would
the
be
Browns are
reuniting with Javonte Williams with a really athletic receiving core. I could see real success with Sam Howell's skill set. Yeah. With the right offensive coordinator. A play action guy. They got what's his name? Nathaniel
Hackett.
Thank you.
Yes.
Paul Hackett's son.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. Anyway. Yeah, Nathaniel Hackett.
Mm-hmm. So I could see that having some success there. I'm trying to think if there's anyone that we haven't really touched on that needs a quarterback.
We're gonna do a whole show on team needs.
Yeah, team needs. So
it's very important. I've listed some of those, but some of those things are going to change. Like the Packers, we assume their team needs are going to change. The Bucs team needs certainly change. They need a quarterback.
Falcons could be interesting here too. So
we're not talking enough about the Bucs.
Oh yeah, the
Bucs.
That's crazy. The Bucs are drafting a quarterback this year, probably. This is the wild card. Like Malik Willis, we're seeing he has the best physical tools, so I don't even think I consider him a wild card anymore. I think Sam Howell is that wild card guy. He could be something, or he could be nothing. He could be Chase Daniel, and we don't even see him play for 10 years. But he's going to be on a roster because he has the arm.
And he'll get paid a lot of money.
Yep, Chase Daniel.
You'll forget who he is.
$37 million for like 10 years through played
you'll
2 games.
You'll forget who he is until somebody gets hurt, and you're like, oh, there's Sam Howell. There he is.
All right, guys. Well, thanks always for tuning in. Please check out the podcast for Football Scout 365. We have the long form on audio where you can go on Apple, Spotify, anywhere where you get audio podcasts. That has much more in-depth, more conversational, but we cut the best parts and we string it together for you on YouTube. And that's in a separate playlist next after further review. So please go check that out. Let us know what you think. Like, subscribe, hit us in the comments. It's all free, and it helps us immensely, guys. Thank you so much for what you've done so far. Keep running those views up. And for Brandon, myself, thank you for tuning in.